I consider myself a trans-oriented man. I have had more than a few of experiences trying to date, marry, and the sexual exploits that come along with trying to, fraternize with the culture known as transgender. I've been to the Philippines and back. I've wined and dined them. I've had pornographic type sex with them. So I've been around, and I know there are some people coming up. I'm 40 years old, and some young bucks coming up may want to know what they're in for if they're interested. And that's what this whole YouTube channel is created to do, is to inform and to enlighten other trans-oriented men. Now, I don't want to speak negatively, but there's a lot of negative that goes along with this. As with anything else, is negative and positive. I am not an enemy of the transgender community. In fact, I've suffered a lot of pain at the hands of some of these girls, and they've viciously and mercilessly have abused my emotions and my feelings. One thing that you have to take into consideration is, has this girl been abused? Now, a lot of transgenderism, in my opinion, comes from the BPA and the BPA in the bottles, in the plastic bottles. It's a chemical. It feminizes men. That's why transgenderism is exploding. Which, whatever, the Hawaiians have had mahu, have been there since the beginning of recorded history, that have bridged the gap between tribes. They were the transgenders of the Hawaiian culture. You've got the geishas. You've got all sorts of things throughout history. So you can't just say it's the BPA, but I believe it's assisting in the explosion of this culture and this tribe of transgenderism. Now, a lot of transgender girls are sweethearts. I've met a lot of sweethearts, but compatibility is always a serious, serious problem. I've been accused of being a player. I've been accused of looking for tourist sex. I've been accused of being selfish and just looking out, just wanting to have sex, and that's my main mode. Now, I will admit I'm a very sexual person. I need it like 2 times a day, on average, and sometimes 3 or 4. And it's a matter of finding your transgender partner, who's going to have that drive as well. And I've met a few. But you got to search long. You got to far and wide. You have to search, and like sometimes you're dealing with a red herring. You're dealing with someone who looks like they're going to be your soulmate, or you're the one, and then you find out, when you're knee deep, waist deep in the relationship, this isn't working. I mean, for me, I've been tricked 3 times. I've been tricked 3 times, and I come from Hawaii, and a lot of the girls here are they're all escorts, and that's another thing you have to deal with. You got to really do your homework. Some of these girls are gold diggers. Some of them are man eaters. Now, the difference between a gold digger and a man eater is a gold digger is out to get your money. She wants your bank, and she'll do whatever she can to get it. So you buy her stuff, and she wants access to your account. Now, a man eater just enjoys using men for entertainment or amusement purposes. So there's the difference there. It's just usury. And I have a handbook that goes along with this, and I will be detailing this handbook. Again, I love the transgender culture. I'm not into men, and I'm not into women. I'm into only I think my life has changed over the past 4 years, where I've just put myself in a rut, literally. But I believe that through my experiences and my emotional connection, and just when it's really good with a transgender girl, it's fucking great. I've never had it so good. But it can turn real quick, and you've got to be aware of the signs, and you've got to be aware of who you're dealing with. And bless their hearts, a lot of these girls have been abused. Abuse also makes a play into some of this. Some of these girls have had, dominating fathers. They've been neglected by their father. They've had stepfathers that beat them up because they themselves weren't getting love from the mother. And they've had abusive boyfriends who have neglected them and cheated on them. And so this whole cycle of pain continues. And if someone's not aware of the pain that they've suffered and haven't acknowledged it, they'll pass it on. They most certainly will. And I've suffered a lot at the hands of transgender, and I'm always the gentleman. I always try to remain the gentleman. And I've been in some situations that any other man would have been violent, and they try to goad you. The girls will try to these trans girls will try to goad you into committing violence, because it just seems to be they're just used to the triggers, the cues and the triggers. But you gotta keep your head about it, and you've got to understand. I mean, I've met girls who have flipped out from a question. There's a huge drastic contrast between Philippine ladyboys and American ladyboys. Now, I'm an American. I'm from the United States, and I consider a great misfortune because I would prefer to have a Philippine ladyboy as a lover. I'm a versatile guy. I prefer verse play because I feel it makes it, it makes it really lively. I've had such escapades that I don't want to get too lewd, but I mean, when you're just topping each other all night long, taking turns, I mean, it's tremendous. You want to talk about a connection you have with somebody. I'm not big on family or friends, and I really don't appreciate people in society, and being with a transgender woman is one of the few joys I get out of life, so I don't have any hang-ups. I don't care what people think. I don't think highly of people anyway. But I've been on a daunting task for 4 years now to find a girl that can meet my needs, and I'm not a very difficult person. I'm really not. I'm just the type of guy that likes to chill out at home. I'll watch movies at home. I'll buy a nice big TV. We'll watch, we can watch movies all day long at home. It's fine. Be in each other's company. I work on the computer, which I have to do. We can go, going out. I'm not big into like some activities. I like to hike and stuff. I'm not big into stupid things like I don't like playing pool. I don't like going to movies unless it's a major event. I won't go every week. I can't do that. But I like to hike and walk. My favorite thing in the world is conversation. And if you're looking for a girl, if you're looking for a transgender girlfriend, you want a best friend. The best thing I can say, the best advice I can give is to look for someone who will be your best friend. And then everything else will fall in place. The sex, all of it, whatever you want sexually, because a best friend will see to it you get your needs met. And you yourself will also want to return that in kind. I've had some transgender drop dimes of valuable information on me, telling me that some of these girls are looking for a free lunch and a free ride. This falls under the Gold Digger Man-Eater handbook. And I've met those girls. I've been tricked. I was tricked going to the Philippines. Now they say that you're looking for tourist sex and stuff, and I did have it. I did have tourist sex. You better believe it. After that relationship that I thought was going to work fell apart, I scrambled to have as much tourist sex as I could with as many lady boys as I could at one time. I don't make no bones, and I don't play no games. But the best advice I can give you is to look for a best friend. Don't look for someone, and this was also handed to me by another ladyboy girl who told me about the free lunch. She's like, you can't look for somebody to meet your scorecard. You'll never find that. The best advice is just to look for a best friend and take it from there. Somebody who won't get bent out of shape over everything you say. That's not a best friend. Somebody who will be open with you. As long as they know you're not, as long as they're aware that you're not trying to insult them and that you're just trying to get to the point. And I ask a lot of questions. I like great conversation. That's the first and foremost. And then second is sex. I like a lot of sex. And that's straight. That's just real talk. They're like, oh, you just want to use, you see us as all as she-males or, you see us as sexual objects. And I guess men have been sexualizing women. They sexualize anything. You put a penis or whatever, a vagina or boobs on anything, and you sexualize it. I mean, they do it. I've seen it done to vehicles. I've seen it done the furries. I mean, it can be done to anything. Men have been sexualizing women, and men have had a fetish for women since the beginning of time. And fetishes are fetishes. Okay, so I have a fetish for trans girls. So what? It doesn't mean I wouldn't treat them right or treat them, I'm still looking for a best friend. So what? It gets me off. So what? And I say to a lot of them, oh, you just want sex. You just want sex. Damn right. Just because you want to cut yours off, just because you don't like yours and you're dead below the waist doesn't mean the rest of us are. And I've met, see, it's tough. It's tough because if you want, a lot of these girls in Hawaii they're all escorts. If they're pretty, and you've got to follow this is more advice, gentlemen. If they have any assets whatsoever, nice tits, nice ass, nice face, nice skin, nice hair, the more assets, the trickier she is. Because she's getting offers every day walking down the street. And why does she need you? And here in the Western world, where I come from, very wicked. We have wicked ways in the Western world, and I'm trying to actually give these girls a pass, and it's tough. It's expensive in Hawaii. Altogether, it's tough to survive in life. So I'm granting a pass, and I'm granting empathy. I consider myself one of the most open-minded people. Reasonable, negotiable, tactful, decent, respectful. And I've been with girls who have played me, taken advantage of my good nature, taken advantage of the fact that, I open my heart, and they put on a front because they're all escorts. But coming with this, they'll play with you for a little while and treat you right for a little while, and it'll be like heaven on earth. I guarantee you. You'll know it was like I was living in a dream. You'll get sexually everything you're looking out of it, and that is rewarding. I've had a lot of things I wanted to do on my bucket list were achieved. And I thank them. A part of me thanks them. But like when it turns bad, and you'll get no closure in the end. Because if these girls are escorts, they can have any guy they want, and they get bored of the toys that they have, and they just, if they don't put you on the shelf and use you for later, some girls like to hold you. They'll put you on the shelf. Okay, I like this toy. I'll keep it for a little while. You'll get thrown out. You'll get discarded, and they will do you the worst way they possibly can. They'll play with your emotions. They'll play with your heart. They'll play with your mind. They'll play like, oh, you could have got sex last night, blah, blah, blah. They'll play all these mind games. I've had all these mind games played on me. For somebody I loved. I was deeply in love with this person. I asked this person to marry me. I was so in love. We went a year, and I didn't know she was an escort. And there's more drama associated with that, but you can't see if they're trying to hide who they are, you're not going to see it, because these girls are all about putting on a front, that they're a woman. I mean, some of them live, but live as a woman day in, day out, but some don't. And it's really just, it's tough because you can't see it for the most part, because it's a performance. Being a woman it may not end that way once they get comfortable in their skin and become comfortable with who they are, which is a work. It's a lot of work. But in the beginning, it's a performance. So they assume that everything's a performance. And in a sense, it is. And we live in a society that's very superficial and disposable. People are superficial and disposable. And again, you got to grant a pass, because it's not their fault. It's very demanding. They're trying to keep up with the curve. And like I said, I've been heartbroken. I'm heartbroken right now. I was deeply in love with a girl, deeply in love, and it'll never go away. And she hurt me very bad. Cheated on me with a number of guys because she was an escort, and I didn't realize it. But in the sack, when it started, it was sexually very satisfying in certain ways. I'm the type, I'm very demanding myself and superficial. I'm not. I don't like to dispose of people. I come from the old school, but I prefer a girl with implants. I like, if a woman is a woman, and this also segues into psychologically why I don't like normal women. I mean, if you think about a normal female biological woman relationship, what you have here is a girl who just is looking to hook a man at 25 and get knocked up, shit out 2 kids, and then just get the mortgage, just get fat, nasty, and happy. I mean, that's just gross. Where transgenders are always they can't have children, for one, and so their bodies won't terribly change, and they're on a path to perfection. They're trying to achieve a goal. They're always on the path to improve themselves through surgeries and hormones and all this. So I've been that type. I'm always trying to make myself better. So our goals are in life are kind of the same in that respect. We're both trying to improve ourselves, and that's important. That's something I can identify with. Never mind, a transgender can also identify with your problems, being once a man, once having male feelings. She can understand like where you're coming from, so she can relate. And that's something I can never find that biological women can do. They have their own problems. And even with breasts, if they have big breasts through surgeries and stuff, a transgender will show you her titties all day long. A woman has all sorts of phobias and there's all this drama associated with her chest. Never mind, she's probably got droopy boobies to begin with, and they're not even that impressive. I've seen better hormone boobs on transgenders. I've seen transgenders. The majority of the transgenders I've dealt with on a regular basis have had blown away the women that I've been with, the biological women. Now you want to say, oh, you're a fag, you're this, you're gay, or whatever. I mean, the fact is, people change. People change in life. Taste today, go tomorrow. And that's another thing you have to consider when dealing with transgender is, you're the flavor of the minute right now, but she might change, because everybody changes. And again, I'm granting a pass. Everybody changes. Once you satisfy a certain aspect on your bucket list that you may be aware of or not even aware of, your flavor changes. Like you want something else. But life's a gamble. I offered a lot to my last girlfriend. I offered to give her everything in the world, but she just doesn't want me because she's, I'm also dating 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds. What the hell do I expect? I'm 40 years old. I should be shooting in the 30-year range, but the 30-year-olds aren't, they're just as beautiful. In fact, they have a little bit more imperfection, which actually I prefer, because my imperfections are starting to show. So it's more of a relation thing going on there. It's just that there's fewer of them. These girls generally break out in the 25-year range, and that's when it's when the fruit is ripe. That's when they're in season to be plucked, I guess. They spend the first 5 years from 20 to 25, honing their craft, as it were. But I just wanted to give a little information, to give a little perspective. I want to go over several things, like how they use men, how when it's great, it's golden, it's like the best. How I'm still on my search. I have not found the one. I have a lot of potentials, but again, I've also been given advice: don't look for someone to meet your scorecard, because you'll never find it. I thought I met a girl from the Philippines because I'm tired of the Western ones. The ones here locally, you'll see them. They'll have ads. You'll see their hooker ads, their escort ads. You'll see those on Craigslist, and then you'll see these same girls parading around on Plenty of Fish and Badoo and all those, even Grindr to some degree. You'll see them there. Now, granted, I don't like dudes, but I know they go there, so I go there. I don't like dudes at all. I'm not into kissing men with beards. I'm not into fucking hairy chests or hairy asses. I'm not. That shit is all disgusting. It is the fucking grossest shit in the world. But I've been with some transgenders. You could never tell that they were women, and they blew away every biological female I've ever been with. Blown them away. It's amazing. Excuse me. It's amazing. What was I talking about? I got kind of derailed there. So basically, you can't meet your scorecard. The scorecard will never be. If you go for your scorecard, there's going to be something you're not. And this happened to me going to the Philippines. There's going to be something on your scorecard you missed. You didn't cover that area because you were too busy focusing on the first 10 points of your scorecard you're trying to meet. There was something that was a major problem. You forgot that she was the girl that I met. She doesn't want. I don't know why she's messing with white boys, because she wants a black guy. She listens to rap music. I get over there. She's listening to rap music, and like she's looking for that thug mentality. She's 21. The girl I went to go see was 21, and this serves me right. She's 21. She's starting the hormone thing. She's kind of like destabilized because of her hormones. She's taking massive injections. I'm watching her freak out on Skype, because not on me. Just she's like, I'm freaking out over here. I took too much injection, because there's no caregivers in Philippines. They don't have specialists to deal with. They have to kind of roughneck it, or like hack it out themselves, basically. So they take too much of the dose. And like she got her boobs put in, and she's 21, and she had to take. They injected her with steroids around her boobs, and that pushed her testosterone. So she had to make a secret deal with some kind of caregiver in a back alley or somewhere. I didn't get the specifics, but to get the estrogen or the hormone blockers, and she took too much of that, and that was destabilizing her. But the girl was a gold digger, and I didn't realize it, because she sold me on the fact we spoke every day, 3 hours a day for a month and a half. So I'm like, all right, this is the one. I love the way she looks. I love her body. I love everything about her. But the communication was there. Physically, she was exactly what I was looking for. Communication-wise, she was exactly what I was looking for. She was great at communication. They work at a BPO in the Philippines. I don't know what that is, but they deal with Americans. So she knew how to talk to me, and she knew conversation very well. She was very good, and we fought a couple of times, and we moved on. We addressed it and moved on. I'm like, this is how a relationship's going to work. But then I get there, and she opened up the Usury Cunt handbook, and I've spoken about this handbook. It's like 13 articles in a handbook that they pull on you to use you. She pulled the handbook on me. We went on a mini vacation when I got there. We went to a different island in the Philippines, and she turned into a different person right there. And I mean, it's tough, because you have to set all the plans in motion, the wheels to airline tickets and all that gets set in motion early. So it's like weeks and weeks ahead of, we did it in like 3 days at a time. But like when we get on the plane, she's somebody different. I don't even know who this person is. Don't talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. Your presence disgusts me. I don't want you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have sex with you. I don't want to do anything with you. That's who she turns into. Feed me, feed me, feed me. Buy me this, buy me that. That's who she turned into. I've had a girlfriend for a whole year, the one before her, over the course of last year in 2016. It just ended the beginning of this year, do the same thing. She turned into that. As soon as I moved in with her, she turned into that. That's not who she was the whole time. But as soon as I moved in with her, starting fights, and like you see how like, and they all do this. They all open the book on you, because the one in the Philippines is an escort in the making. You can tell they have signatures. They have certain cues you can pick up on, and I know these cues. And the one that I was dealing with, the one I had a year-long relationship with, she was an escort before I met her, and I didn't know that, but I found out through one of the guys she was sleeping with. And they're extremely scandalous, and they love to put you through hell. They do. They're not real people. I don't see escorts as real people because it's all a work. Not saying transgenders aren't, but I just have an eye for trouble, I guess, because every one of my girls from the United States, from Hawaii, was an escort. And you'll see them on Plenty of Fish. Back to that, you'll see them on Plenty of Fish or Badu, and they're trying to sell themselves like they're looking for love. They're looking for a sugar daddy. They're looking for the flavor of the minute. Whatever they're looking for. They're looking for amusement or entertainment. That's all they're looking for. I was nothing more than entertainment. I took this girl seriously here in Hawaii. And I was just nothing more than her amusement and her entertainment. She, to me, was my best friend. And to me, it was completely serious. She was important to me. I kept telling her how important to me. And it was just all amusement to her the whole time. She was faithful for the first maybe 6 months of the relationship, and then it all just fell apart. It all just, we never had a problem with money. I don't have a problem with money per se. So we fought about ridiculous things, which made no sense. But it would have been about the money, because it's always, if there's a 10-point system they want you to meet. Oh, I have 10 points. I have 10 points. I want a man to needs of a man I want him to meet. I can give you 8 points. Me personally, I can give her 8 points. She's always going to harp on those 2 points because she's not a real person. She's always going to harp, you're not giving me this, you're not giving me that. And it doesn't matter who it is, because she's not a real person. She's not looking for a real relationship. She really wasn't when I first met her. I didn't know much about her. It was a sexual encounter. We built a relationship off a sexual encounter off of Craigslist. But I was so taken with her. I'm like, I got to make you mine. And she agreed, She looked like she was looking for love, but she wasn't. So I fucked up. It was my mistake. But even still, some of the girls in the Ladyboy date site, I can spot a prostitute or a hooker or an escort, whatever. I can spot them. You can tell by their pictures who they are, what they are. Some of full-on fucking escorts. I've even gone to the Philippines and then gone on the Craigslist there after my potential lover failed, and I'm like, oh, that one's an escort, and then you ask them, and some will admit it. I mean, if they were American, they'd flip out, but some will admit it. And some will not answer all your questions. If you're asking a girl about her being an escort and she says, yes, I am, and this is in the Philippines, yes, I am, and she answers all your questions, you should go, you can pursue that. You can pursue that further, because she'll have the sexual prowess you're looking for. She'll be great in bed. And I slept with one, and she answers all my questions. She's a real deal, but it doesn't hit like communication wise. She doesn't have what I need in the English speaking department, so communication's kind of a little broken. We can manage, but it's a little bit of a struggle. Maybe that disconnect's good, and I don't know what she has. She doesn't seem, past the prostitution, she doesn't seem to be what I'm looking for. She doesn't seem to have any goals. I don't know really who she is and stuff, but she'll answer all my questions. She's really into me, and she hits, ever since I got back, she hits me up every day, and I've I've tried to shake her off and deflect her. It's tough. It's tough. I've met a transgender girl, freaking beautiful little thing. She came to my hotel room. I just wanted to meet her. I had we didn't even have sex. We just slept together all night in the hotel. We slept together, and she was the softest, most sweetest. But the thing is, she had no sexual experience. She's 27, never had sex before. You see where I'm going with this? What do you do? She doesn't know what her designation is. She has no expertise in the subject. She really likes me, and she doesn't want to talk to me anymore because I kind of rejected her because she doesn't know who she is. And I need her to know who she is in that department. You see how it doesn't work? I've had girls tell me they know exactly what I want, and they've talked to me like I'm a bitch, and I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. Like they know exactly how to talk to me, but I don't know who that person is past that. I don't know who that being is past that. So is that going to work? It may not. It probably won't. I've had prostitutes that I've talked to. Well, one girl I tried to hook up with over there in the Philippines, I tried to talk to her and like about her business. And if she hides stuff, if you ask her questions and all of a sudden there's a breaks in communication are the first signs things will not work. You don't get an answer all day. You know she has no intention to look for a lover because I'm asking all the right questions. A real can spot a fake, and I say it every time. A real spots a fake. You know how to ask the questions. You know what questions, it's like speed dating. It's like, look, I've been through this so many times. Just answer these questions. If they get angry, they've been abused. If you ask them a question and they get angry, and the Western ones will do this. I've asked you a question. I've been tactful. Can you please answer it? They'll flip out. You know that girl is a gold digger, a man eater, or she's been terribly abused, and or all of those things. That is definitely a red flag. Get the hell out of there. If in the Philippines, they don't say anything. You ask one of these girls the same questions and they don't say nothing. They walk away from the conversation. There's another red flag. Don't pursue it because she has an agenda and it doesn't include you. If she wanted to be your best friend, like I've had one she's still trying to be my best friend. I don't really talk to her, but she says hi to me every day. And I don't trust escorts at this point, but it says something. If I go back, I would most certainly hit her up. And I would try to build something. I would try to pursue the relationship a little further. Of course, I would do it sexually from that platform. But I would also try to talk. I always try to talk to my girls. I'm talking to you right now. I like conversation. I like meaningful conversation. I believe that is the basis of all relationships. Any relationship, it's the basis. As long as you communicate your needs and what's going right and what's going wrong, you can never lose. How can you lose? And if you're both doing that to each other and you're both responding to each other and trying to make it work, it can't lose. And I understand these fundamentals. There's things I don't like to do I just don't like to do. But I do them with a lover. I do them with a partner. If she liked to do it and we could spend a moment together, it means something. I'll make the effort. If she needs something throughout the course of the day, like I need this waiting for me when I come home. Can you pick it up from the grocery store? I'll make sure she's got it every day. I'll do my best to get it for her. Just stuff like that, When you care about somebody, you look after them, you nurture them, you take care of them, you support them any way you can. And that's all you need to know. It's not difficult. And when girls don't answer questions of biological, men don't answer questions. When you don't get an answer to a question, something's wrong. When they say I don't know, there's something wrong there. And I believe people can change, but sometimes people need a God smack. And I'm not saying I'm promoting violence. A God smack into some degree where you got to punish the person, like. Sometimes you got to smarten a bitch up. You got to yell at her or something. And unfortunately, I've told my last trans girlfriend 10 times I couldn't have been nicer. Then the 11th time, it's time to flip my shit, And she's trying to get you to flip your shit, And then that falls apart, And like I said, the majority of them over here in Hawaii, they're all prostitutes. You can't trust them. They pose, they'll turn around, they'll spin their face around and put on a different mask and they'll act like they're looking for a boyfriend, but what they're really doing behind the scenes. So if a guy walks into the Plenty of Fish website and he's like, hey, this one's so beautiful. Oh, I love transgender. Let's get together. And he's not looking for a hooker. He's going to get he's going to be like, wow, this girl's so good in bed. She's so sexually, her prowess. Yeah. If they have super sexual prowess, and I've met girls who aren't very sexual. The one in the Philippines that I went to go meet, the one I went out there for, who was 21, she wasn't very sexual, but she promised me she would at least try to have sex with me every day. And I thought we would, she said she was moody, but she said she never told me she wasn't going to talk to me during daylight hours, 8 hours a day. When she told me that like that, I'm like, I can't be with you. I can't even communicate with you. You see how it doesn't work? And then I've met a lot of liars, especially if you're looking for some escorts. If you're actually looking for them, they'll lie. They'll have fake pictures up. They'll be 10 years older. They'll be 10 years fatter, and that's a tough situation. Or they're not who they say they are. They don't come dressed up, So you gotta make sure you gotta know what you're looking for. It's very important, and that's what this is. That's why I'm doing these recordings, to empower other would-be trans-oriented men or trans-oriented men who are also suffering like I am, because I still haven't found the one. I meet a lot of girls that on my scorecard, they hit a lot of numbers. It's just they fall short in some areas. And I'm asking myself, am I going to change colors in the relationship? Am I going to become dissatisfied? generally, if I can get good communication out of a person and we can fix, if you tell me what the problem is, if I can fix it and I'm willing to fix it, there's no problem. And sexually I get satisfied, there's no problem. We can work through anything. But, you know, because I only deal with a certain caliber of transgender. I get hit up on My Lady Boy Date, which is a website. I get hit up a lot by girls, but they're all rugged looking. They don't look, I have to chase the next level. The ones that have the implants, they all look like they're convincing ladies. You can tell that you can't tell that they're lady boys. That's where I go. I'm not looking for supermodels or porn stars, but they're there on the site too. And you can spot a fake. You can tell by the pictures in the description. If the description on myladyboydatesite.com says one line like confident and independent or something like that, you know that they're up to something. They don't have anything to say. It's all it's all between the sheets, and past that, who knows what's going to happen, you know? Okay, so that's this first foray into this world that I've fallen into, and I will have no will to climb out of and can't climb out of.